As the seasons change, we remain introducing the Art for Change podcast gang. The intellectual Mr. Sapiosexual. That's all you gotta do, be you. Montana Cobain pulling up in the truck. And Lady Alba with the glamorous power touch. We stream live at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Soul Food Sunday, Motion Monday, and Therapeutic Thursday. And some days in between, switch it. Subscribe and bell on so you don't miss it. But if you do, we on repeat on every major podcast application. Interviews galore and more. Y'all know the situation. So book your seat when we turn up the heat with your Art for Change.
Yes, y'all. And we are live. What's going on, art enthusiasts and change makers? Yes, this is another episode of Art for Change podcast. I am your host, Mr. Sapiosexual, and I have my co-host for the day, Lady Alva, in the building. How you doing, love?
Yes, y'all. I'm doing good. I'm doing great. Say it's a great day.
Yes. Fantastic. Friday, to be exact.
Hey, I like that.
Today we're gonna to close out Black History Month. We know we only got like one day left, y'all. So tonight we're gonna honor the Black history not only from remembering the past, but recognizing the leaders shaping our present in justice, in art, in science, in culture, and in truth telling. We're gonna let Lady Alva lead this show today. So, Lady Alva, let's talk about it.
All right.
Some of these current leaders.
Well, first, let me say a mighty good evening to all. And to you, mister, and let y'all know that tonight, Art for Change, we are not just doing a show live. We are standing in the intersection of history and hope. February 26, 2026, Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr. has passed, and they had his funeral on February 26, 2026. My personal aspect is, as a child of this city, Chicago, Illinois, where he ran his leadership at Push. I grew up watching him at Push and later stood beside him to mark my own full circle moment. I can tell you tonight, we are sitting in the yoke of goodness. The yoke of goodness. We are at the golden heart of a legacy that nourished us, and we are here to highlight our leaders who are carrying the light forward. And there's a lot of them today. Many of them, I'd be honest to tell y'all, I didn't know. And I think it's so important that we tend to speak about our historical leaders while history is being made every day that we breathe, right? So we also need to know and highlight our current and present leaders. So I have quite a few of them here that we're going to get into. And just to run down the list, Vice President Kamala Harris is first up. Let me give you a little insight on her. On January 20th, Kamala Harris became the first South Asian American, and first woman Vice President of the United States. Born in Oakland, California, to an Indian mother and Jamaican father, she spoke about her mother, and her name is Shamala. I'm going to mess up the name. I'm so sorry. Gopalan Harris, in her first speech as Vice President-elect. When she came here from India at the age of 19, she maybe didn't quite imagine this moment, Harris said on November 7th. But she believes so deeply in an America where a moment like this is possible. So I'm thinking about her and about the generations of women, Black women, Asian, white, Latina, and Native American women who throughout our nations have paved the way for this moment tonight, she said. Harris is also the first vice president to have graduated from a historically Black college or university, HBCU. That's Howard University, and credits her sense of being and meaning to her name as a student there. Harris is also a member of the oldest historically Black sorority, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority, Inc. Harris helped others make history in December. I like this part a lot. When she hired the first all-woman senior staff for the U.S. Vice President's office. That's awesome. Next up, we have Rosalind Brewer, 58, Walgreens, next CEO and only Black woman to currently lead a Fortune 500 firm. In March, Rosalind Brewer, who currently serves as Starbucks Chief Operating Officer, will be starting a new position as CEO of drugstore chain Walgreens Boots Alliance. When she steps into this new role, she will be the only Black woman currently leading a Fortune 500 firm, and just the third Black woman in history to serve as a Fortune 500 CEO. Ursula Burns, who served as CEO of Xerox between 2009 and 2016, was the first. And Mary Winston, who served as interim CEO at Bed Bath & Beyond in 2019, was the second. Now, look, I'm a Bed Bath & Beyond customer, and I didn't know that. And why would I know that? I'm just going there to buy my little goodies. But it's amazing to know that. So now I can actually step into Bed Bath & Beyond with some pride. Yeah. So Brewer joined Starbucks in 2017 as the company's first Black and first woman. Ooh, double hitter, double jeopardy. Cool. COO, previously spent 5 years serving as the CEO of Sam's Club, which is owned by Walmart. Prior to working for Walmart, she spent 22 years working for manufacturing companies, Kimberly-Clark, where she started her career as a scientist and eventually worked her way up to being president of the company's global non-woven sector in 2004. Listen, who says it's a bad thing to get that entry-level job? McDonald's, Burger King. Work your way up. All right. Next up on the list. I mean, these women have more than what I'm reading to y'all, but I'm giving you a good summary. I think it's good enough. Then you do your own due diligence. But next up, Dr. Kizzmekia S. Corbett, 35. Led scientists on the Moderna COVID-19 vaccine team. At a December event hosted by the National Urban League, Dr. Anthony Fauci, we all heard his name and got tired of his name, had one, respectfully I say so, had one very important thing to say about the Moderna COVID-19 vaccine, aka mRNA 1273, approved by the FDA for emergency use on December 18th. The first thing you might want to say to my African American brothers and sisters is that the vaccine that you're going to be taking was developed by an African American woman, Fauci said. Oh, I missed that. Did you hear that, mister? Did you ever hear that? I missed that part. Doing all of the hoopla, and that is just yeah, me neither. That's what Fauci said. So indeed, Dr. Kizzmekia Corbett, a 35-year-old viral immunologist and research fellow in the Vaccine Research Center of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease, is the lead scientist on the team that developed the Moderna COVID-19 vaccine. She built on her 6 years of experience studying the spike proteins of other coronaviruses like SARS and MERS in order to design the vaccine within 2 days of the novel coronavirus being discovered. Here's a quote. I like to call it the plug and play approach. Corbett, who has a PhD in microbiology and immunology from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. Hey, if COVID come, well, y'all still going to deny the COVID shot? Gotta have some faith and trust somewhere with your health and wellness. You got to. Next up on the list, this little woman made such an impact with one piece of art to the world, like in one day. That's the way I remember it. And that is poet Amanda Gorman. Storied careers were on full display at the January 20th inauguration of President Joe Biden, from politicians to entertainers with decades of experience under their belts. But the breakout star of the event was Amanda Gorman, who at 22 years old became the youngest inaugural poet in the U.S. history. Gorman recited her poem, The Hill We Climb, that called for Americans to rebuild, reconcile, and recover from deeply rooted divides and racial inequities, particularly during a time of unprecedented illness, death, political strife, and calls for racial justice across the country. Gorman finished writing her poem shortly after the January 6th riots at the Capitol building and drew inspiration from the speeches of American leaders during other historic times of division, including, don't get shocked, Abraham Lincoln and the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. I think some of y'all will be like, oh, that's a twist. It is. Surprise. The youngest poet, author, and activist grew up in Los Angeles and began writing as a way to cope with a speech impediment. Ooh, go ahead, Amanda. Miss Gorman. By age 16, she was named the Youth Poet Laureate of LA. And at 19, she became the first National Youth Poet Laureate. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, while studying sociology at Harvard. Woo! She writes about race, gender, and was invited to the swearing-in ceremony of the First Lady, Jill Biden, and follows in the footsteps of inaugural poets Maya Angelou and Robert Frost. That's powerful. So powerful. Next up, I have Rashida Jones, 39. MSNBC president and first Black executive to run a major television network, news network. Journalism is such a complicated industry, quoting, Rashida Jones said at a 2015 conference at the University of Missouri School of Journalism. If you really want to be a next level journalist that's coloring the history of our world, that's the only reason you should be on this path. Woo! Let's take a breath with that. That's my first time reading that she said that. Wow. So in other words, don't get on the path to be destructive. In her 8 years at MSNBC and her 21 years in the business, that's exactly what Jones has been doing. On February 1st, Jones started her new role as president at MSNBC, making her making her the first Black executive to lead a major television news network. Woo! Her previous endeavors was senior vice president of news at MSNBC and NBC News, where she oversaw breaking news coverage like the coronavirus pandemic and 2020 election. Jones set rating records for 2 town hall specials and helped oversee the second presidential debate, during which NBC correspondent Kristen Welker became only the second Black woman to moderate a presidential debate solo. Get out my way. I am here. Solo. Yeah. Jones also helped to bring more diversity to MSNBC's daytime and weekend schedule, like extending Nicole Wallace's show Deadline White House. Woo! Beautiful. Next up. Of course, I chose all women. There were some men on this list, but I had to narrow it down a little bit for the show. And I'm a woman, so I'm going to choose my ladies. Sandra Lindsay, 52, first American to get the COVID-19 vaccine outside of trials. Quote, I volunteered myself, says critical care nurse Sandra Lindsay, of becoming the first person in America to get the COVID-19 vaccine outside of a trial on December 14th in Queens, New York. That's where I am, y'all. Lindsay, who immigrated from Jamaica in 1986 and became a nurse in 1994, oversees 5 critical core nursing units at Long Island Jewish Medical Center. She's seen how dangerous and erratic the virus can be. So she jumped in at a chance to get the Pfizer bio, maybe that's coming. That's a thing for them, to get the Pfizer biotech vaccine. She says, I didn't know I was going to be the first in New York State. Never mind the United States, she tells NBC. Lindsay just wanted to lead by example for not only her staff, but also as a Black woman. Black people have been disproportionately impacted by COVID-19 due to the racial health disparities, and have historically experienced biased treatment by the medical community, which was led to distrust, including of vaccines. So Black Americans surveyed, they would get the COVID vaccine, the lowest of any racial or ethnic group. They surveyed at 42%. So she also says, it was good that people see me as a Black woman taking it. She put herself on the front line double time. I'm well aware of what has happened in the past, but I'm not afraid. What I am afraid of more is getting the virus. Powerful. Next up, Cynthia Cint Marshall, 61, first Black woman CEO in the NBA. Hey, she says, I need to make sure I'm not the last. Dallas Mavericks boss Cint Marshall tells CNBC, make it about making history in 2018 as the first Black woman CEO in the NBA. It's exactly why Marshall launched the Mavs Take Action initiative in June 2020, after the nationwide protest sparked by the killing of George Floyd, to combat systemic inequities. She says, we need an action plan. Marshall, a former AT&T executive who was hired by billionaire Mavericks owner Mark Cuban to clean up the workplace. To clean up the workplace. They brought, look, I have to be sarcastic with this because we talking about Black history, we talking about Black culture, we talking about Black folks. They brought her in to clean up. They brought her in as the help, and she exceeded that. To clean up the workplace culture after an investigation revealed 20 years of sexual harassment and misconduct issues, says the Mavericks. Organizations have pledged a minimum of 10,000 employee volunteer hours and $5 million to support local communities via education, scholarship, mentorship, and public policy. Quote, I have to make sure that I'm mentoring others and helping others to mentor people like me so that we'll have a second, third, fourth, and fifth Black female CEO in the NBA. Woo! Another quote, I don't care where you are, what your zip code is. Have big dreams, says Marshall. Yes, indeed. Next up, Cora Bush, 44, Missouri's first Black congresswoman. On January 3rd, Representative Cora Bush became the first Black woman sworn into Congress to represent Missouri, serving the state's first district that includes the St. Louis area. The nurse, pastor, and longtime community leader became politically active following the 2014 shooting death of Michael Brown by a Ferguson, Missouri police officer. The Black Lives Matter activists' road to Congress kicked off with a long shot campaign for the Senate in 2016, an unsuccessful 2018 run to unseat Democratic incumbent Representative William Lacy Clay Jr., who represented the district beginning in 2001. Prior to that, his father held the seat for 32 years. But 2020 was different. Amid distress caused by the pandemic, Bush gained momentum with the campaign that prioritized progressive policies, including universal basic income, a 15 minimum wage, Medicare for all, criminal justice reform, and the Green New Deal. So her progressive platform comes from personal experience and a reminder that I am the people I serve. That's powerful. That's powerful. Next up, Alicia, Bowler Davis, first Black woman named to Amazon's senior team, the inner circle that advises Jeff Bezos. Alicia Bowler Davis has viewed the world like an engineer from the time she was a child, fixing broken appliances around the house in Detroit. By high school, she took part in the program with the General Motors Institute and launched her engineering career designing cars for the company. Over 25 years with GM, Bowler Davis became the first Black woman to run a manufacturing plant at the company, the senior vice president of customer experience, and later executive vice president of global manufacturing. She joined Amazon in 2019 and in August 2020 made history in her appointment as Amazon's vice president of global customer fulfillment. When she became the first Black woman to join Amazon's prestigious S team, a group of executives that advise CEO Jeff Bezos, her achievement may be a turning point for the company's diversity efforts. Though Amazon's workforce consists of roughly 27% Black employees, just over 8% of managers are Black. What a breakthrough. I have to read this. Well, the employees hope Bowler Davis' position of influence will result in more inclusivity in leadership and in addressing allegations of racism at Amazon's fulfillment centers. I hope so too. I'm rooting for it. Next up, Melody Hobson, 51, first Black woman to serve as chair of Starbucks board. Who knew? That was a surprise for me too. In December 2020, Melody Hobson, president and co-CEO of money management firm Ariel Investments, was named chair of Starbucks board of directors. When she officially steps into the role in March, she will be the first Black woman to hold this position. She is the youngest of 6 children. Hobson was raised by a single mother in Chicago and credits her financially poor upbringing for driving her into the career she's in today. Many of us Black folks need to hear that. Just because you're poor don't mean you can't soar. Let that be the tool that propels you for more. Shoot. It is no accident, quoting, I am in the investment management business because as a child, I was desperate to understand money, she said during the 2020 Center for Financial Planning Diversity Summit in November. She graduated from Princeton University. And You see this one here, and she's acknowledging she was poor, and she went to Princeton University, a graduate. Woo! In 1991, first joined Ariel Investments as a college intern and spent nearly 2 decades as the firm's president before being named co-CEO in 2019. In addition to being the incoming chair of Starbucks board, Hobson serves as a director on JP Morgan Chase board and is a chairman of After School Matters, a Chicago nonprofit that provides local teens with high quality after school programs. She's also into she's a philanthropic. She does philanthropy work, always tongue tied with that word, with her foundation, the Hobson Lucas Family Foundation. Donated an undisclosed large gift to her alma mater in October 2020 to establish a new residential college, at Princeton, Hobson College, tentatively scheduled to open in the fall of 2026. It will be the university's first residential college named after a Black woman. What a breakthrough that is. Bam, bam, bam. Her quote, my hope, she told the university, is that my name will remind future generations of students, especially those who are Black and brown, and the first in their families, that they too belong. Yes, indeed. Powerful. Next up, Sydney Barber. Just a little baby. 21. U.S. Naval Academy's first Black female brigade commander. In the U.S. Naval Academy's 175-year history, there has never been a Black woman to serve as a brigade commander. But all of that changed this January when Midshipman Sydney Barber stepped into the role. Quote, I would compare my job to a student body president at a civilian institution, she tells CNBC. Make it, explaining that she oversees roughly 4,000 midshipmen at the Naval Academy. Barber grew up in Lake Forest, Illinois. Says she was inspired by her dad, who graduated from the academy in 1991 to attend the institution. Quote, my dad is someone who always believed in me early on, and so he will say that he wasn't surprised by my position, says the 21-year-old mechanical engineer major. But he started crying. But let me read that again. But he started crying, first of all, on the phone, just because he was so proud of me. and the opportunity that came ahead. Barbara explains that, like many other Black attendees who walked through the Academy's doors before her, her dad experienced racism during his tenure as a midshipman. Knowing her dad's experience and the experience of countless other diverse leaders, the 21-year-old says she's extremely humbled by her new opportunity, and she doesn't take the responsibility of her role lightly. So powerful. Who's next up? Who's next up? Who's next? Who's next? Nia DaCosta. Nia DaCosta. 31. First Black woman to direct a Marvel film. Had no clue. When Disney's Marvel Studies tapped Nia DaCosta last year to direct the upcoming Captain Marvel sequel, which hit in 2022, she became the first Black woman director to tackle the Marvel Universe. Yet, when Marvel handed DaCosta the keys to its billion-dollar franchise, the 31-year-old had only released one movie in theaters. What? In 2015, DaCosta raised roughly $5,000 in a Kickstarter campaign to fund a short film called Little Woods, about two North Dakota sisters who have to cross the Canadian border illegally to obtain medicine for their mother. DaCosta later expanded that into her first feature film in 2018, winning the Tribeca Films Festival Nora Ephron Award for the Best Woman Writer, Director, and catching the eye of Academy Award winner Jordan Peele. Calling DaCosta a bold new talent, Peele hired her to direct and co-write his much anticipated horror sequel, Candyman. Her DaCosta's work on the movie, which will be in the theaters in August, that's 2021, after being delayed. Okay, blah blah blah. That's amazing. Here's a quote. I'm a huge Marvel fan, have been since I was a kid, she told the Journal. And I've always wanted to direct a Marvel movie. Wow. Manifestation right there for sure. Aisha, I think I'm pronouncing that right, Evans, 51, first Black woman to run a self-driving car company. No clue at all. Here we go. When Aisha Evans agreed to become the new CEO of autonomous vehicle startup Zoox in 2019, she made history as the first Black woman to run a self-driving car company. In 2020, she shepherded Zoox to a $1.3 billion sale to Amazon. Now, Evans is working with Amazon to realize Zoox's vision of an autonomous ride-hailing service with its own fleet of fully self-driving electric cars. What a wonder! She is born in Senegal and has a computer engineering degree from the George Washington University. Previously spent 12 years at Intel. She's had to overcome a lot as a Black woman in tech, she told the Financial Times. It's an industry known for poor representation of women of color. That's amazing. A quote, it's one of those times where you get to catch the wave during the transformation and reinvention. Wow. That's what she told. Amazing. Catching that wave is important. And ride it until the wave is over and wait for the next wave. Dana Kennedy, 55, first Black person to head a major publishing imprint. I'm going to move along. I got Bozama St. John, 44, Netflix Chief Marketing Officer and first Black C-suite executive at the company. Mm-mm-mm. Now, those are our ladies there. Now we go to our questions to pass it over to Mr. And my question to you is to give me your thoughts.
We're
Pick
gonna
one of
go.
those or pick a leader that you like to expound on and what it is for you.
We mentioned a lot of the ladies. We didn't mention none of the males.
Not yet. I stopped there to let us breathe for a moment.
Okay, okay,
Actually,
all
let
right.
me breathe, and then we'll. But I'll pick up there for you. I'll go.
No,
Well,
no,
let me.
no, that's all right. I didn't understand.
Okay.
I understand now. Okay, so now what you said was your question.
So, out of the women, which of these leaders inspires you most right now, and why?
Um, Out of all of the women, which leader inspired me the most?
Mhm.
I mean, every woman is you could be inspired from. You got a lady who is the CEO of a Fortune 500 company. You got the first Black South Asian American vice president. You know what I mean? You got the first inaugural poet from the youngest African American woman. You know what I mean? And being a poet, of course, I appreciate seeing where poetry can take you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's you got the MSNBC president is a first Black executive woman ran by a major television. So uh, all these women is somebody that you can be inspired by. To pick one, I mean, I feel like it's unfair. Every
Mm.
woman that you spoke on has made tremendous achievements in just history itself, not just Black history. But it's amazing that what I'm saying they always have a certain stigma attached to us. You know, we get certain labels about being uneducated and lazy. So when you hear about these people and the pinnacles of success that they reach to, you can't reach those type of pinnacles of success being lazy and being uneducated. So I love to
Mm.
see Black people break status quos
Yes.
and
I
stereotypes.
Yeah, I love your answer. The question was really like for me to choose that deliberate because you can't pick just one that inspires you the most right now. But unless you are one that are leading in their following in that imprint of their steps, like if that's part of your purpose in you right now, then I can say, yeah, well, that resonates that way. But all of them, their footprints have an imprint on our lives of, like you said, to inspire us. And it would be unfair. I agree with you. Um, and what I recognize all of them just led with some purpose in their lives, and they whatever crumbs they had, they picked up those crumbs and made more crumbs until they breaking through mountains.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Every
Yeah.
every every woman that we spoke on tonight had to endure all different type of systematic restraints just to get to the pinnacle of success that they reach. So
Yes.
that should not be recognized. Absolutely.
Yes. Yes. And with that being said too, because we do this a lot, Mr. As Black people, we judge ourselves wrong. We judge each other wrong. We look at the stumbles that we have made, the bargains that we've had to bargain with sometimes in order to get to the peak of what really matters. We sacrificed ourselves in ways, some women in ways that should never do it. But, and I'm one of those women that like, no, I would never do this and that. But listen, you don't know what it is in somebody else's shoes. But when we have encouraging leaders like this, without knowing their personal traumas or dramas and stumbles, just knowing what they did from whence they come from is enough to say that's what we all can do. And that should be the thing that propels us in our lives to do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm glad that they got, Miss Cynthia Marshall. She is the first Black CEO of the NBA. I'm glad that they got her in there after there's a lot of allegations of sexual harassment. So to see a woman in that field to be able to clean that type of situation up, I think that was very, very intelligent of Mark Cuban. Because not for nothing, Black women don't play certain things, and when women say no, they mean no. So for anybody, man and female, when somebody tell you, that they any type of side note, but any type of sexual advancement onto somebody has to be consensual. If someone does not give you consent, at that point, it's just like a stop sign. You have to immediately stop. It's just like a red light.
Yes.
You come to a halt. Everything has to be consensual. So I think that's interesting that was even mentioned.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up, because listening to your response on that, highlighting that, I'm thinking that has to be a challenging task for her to take that on. First of all, you're the head of an NBA team, so you're rooting for the team. You're rooting for the men. Let's get it going. Let's get this, their skill and all of that. Then you got to deal with the disappointment that you did what to her. And then you're telling me that, no, this is your story, which differs from her story. She's which way do I go, George? Like, I think that's so challenging to have to decipher and to figure out how to settle these issues fairly and reasonably and rightfully and justifiably. Yeah. And without causing a mass destruction in the NBA league, because we love sports. We're a country. We love sports. We love our NBA players. We love our teams.
We love their athletes, for sure.
Yeah.
If nothing else.
Yeah. But something that came in my mind too, I just want to spit out there. And I never had this thought until tonight. When you talk about sexual consent, I like to just say to the men, if a woman, a female, a young lady is high, intoxicated on something, leave her alone. Because what in that state of mind, what you may think she's consenting to, she might not really be, because she's in her state of mind is not right. So wait until you're sober. She's sober. You got any more highlights you want to expound on?
No.
Mister?
No, that was respectful, and that was needed to be said. So yes.
All right.
Art for Change definitely do not condone any type of enforcement.
Yeah.
In terms of sexual conduct.
Yeah. I'm a pick on myself in my days of partying, and even today, if I choose, because sometimes I may have some cocktails, and because I don't have cocktails anywhere like I used to, so my system is it's not immune to it anymore. So my reach is shorter of what I can handle. But I don't like to be amongst any men, one man or more, and my state of mind is altered having a cocktail. It could be a simple beer, and then you praying on me. And I could always read it, but I don't like it. It doesn't feel good. Talk to me or do that when I'm sober, not when I'm like this, and then you keep persisting because you know my mind is altered. It's just a horrible thing to do. And a lot of times it causes chaos that shouldn't create out of that, you know. But yeah,
Shouts
I'm
out
gonna
to
move.
BU. Just
Yeah.
made it to Miami. We
Oh,
see you.
BU. He in Miami. Is he jumping on with us? Where's he at?
No. He probably just making it with his family. You know.
Oh, okay. All right. Glad you made it, BU. All right. So now that we've covered the women there, I did find here, and I got really excited when I read about these young men. Next up, I have I'm sorry if I pronounced the name wrong, but Cheek or Check Kamara and Ermias Tedeschi, 20, co-founders of Black Gen Pop Capital. Let me say that again. Excuse me. Co-founders of Black Gen Capital, Cornell University's first Black investment fund. Like many successful college students, Cheek Kamara and Ermias Tedeschi have taken full advantage of participating in many of the elite financial clubs and organizations at Cornell University. But when they looked around, they noticed they were the only Black and brown members in the ranks of these clubs, which led the two juniors to launch the school's first minority-owned investment fund, Black Gen Capital, in 2019. Quote, "We created Black Gen Capital as a means to expand access to financial literacy education resources that can empower students to get internships and learn about investing and budgeting and things like that," Tedeschi tells. To help Black and brown students attain access to financial education opportunities and resources, Black Gen provides its members with a 10-week finance training program, as well as hands-on experience in pitching and managing investment ideas. The organization takes a long-term approach to investing, focusing on small cap companies that exhibit high growth. Profits from the fund are reinvested as well as used to support Black Gen's events and initiatives, which includes giving back through philanthropy projects. Within its first year, about 70% of Black Gen, roughly 64 members, have secured jobs and internships on Wall Street thanks to corporate sponsors that include Black Bank of America, JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, and Wells Fargo. Oh, we was having a problem talking about Wells Fargo. I remember some racism stuff going on, but while Black Gen has already shown early success, Kamara says they still have big goals. The issue of diversity and lack of access to resources and opportunities is not exclusive to just Cornell University, but rather it's an issue that plays across the entire nation, he says, adding their next goal is to establish chapters in universities and colleges across the country. Wow. Powerful, powerful, powerful. One more that I'm going to give to you, mister, because in the background, mister had a little shine about this gentleman here. Now I'm scrolling. It is... Maybe you can pinpoint him faster than me. Where you at?
Which guy we talking about?
Yeah,
the guy I mentioned backstage.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I'll bring it. I'll read
There
it.
you go. There
Yeah.
you go. Take it on.
Um, we've been talking about a lot of interesting people. I think it is very fascinating that we are in 2026 and we are still having the first Black person to do something. But
Mm,
nevertheless, I think it is awesome that it is a fate though. That it's an amazing flex to have. But to
mm-hmm.
highlighting on Victor Glover. Victor Glover
Mm-hmm.
was the first Black astronaut to live and work at the International Space Station for an extended stay. So I
Mm-hmm.
will tell you a little bit about Mr. Victor Glover. It says when NASA's astronaut Victor Glover arrived to the International Space Station, roughly 250 miles above Earth, on a SpaceX Crew Dragon capsule. He landed in about he landed in November when he was there. He settled in for about 6 months stay, and he was considered to be the first Black person to ever go to the International Space Station to stay for an extended period. Um, with more than over 300 NASA astronauts that they could have sent up there, only 14 have been Black
Mm-hmm.
Americans.
Mm-hmm.
A statement from Mr. Glover himself. He said it is bittersweet because it has some amazing colleagues before me that really could have done just what he's done. You know what I'm saying? He said so, and they are just as amazing as he is. That he had, and so he's hate that he had to leave those people behind and be the first one. You know, but he is also a pilot,
Mm.
and he was the second in command of the crew of the Christian Chronicles when he went up there. So you know what I mean? He's not just he wasn't just a regular astronaut, like you know what I'm saying. He was driving the ship. You
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
That's fire. You know what I'm saying?
it sure is.
Absolutely. Before he became an astronaut, Mr. Glover was a commander and test pilot for the U.S. Navy, where he flew 2,000 hours and over 400 aircrafts. Excuse me, I lied to you. Over 2,000 hours and over 40 aircraft. Sorry, and 24 combat missions. So you know what I mean. He's highly decorated and educated, especially in the field of flying. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it says Glover had his bachelor's in the general engineering, so he's an intelligent individual from the California Polytechnic State University in St. Louis Obispo, California. I might be butchering that name, and received multiple related graduates school degrees, including a master's from Flight Test University, Flight Test Engineering from the Air University, and a master's in
Mm.
System Engineering from the Naval Postgraduate School. Man, listen here, my boy was highly decorated. You know what I'm saying? And he accredited all of his accolades to his fifth grade teacher. You know, she gave Mr. Hargrove gave him the push and inspired him to pursue the STEM. How about that?
That's beautiful. That's awesome. I I I want to speak on his bittersweetness, that emotion that he feels, and I can't speak on it to take it away from him. So surely that's not what I'm doing. But I recognized in life, that's the thing. We say that a lot as Black people. Somebody else, y'all were there. Y'all could have did it. Why it take for me to get here to do it? I'm putting it in a way, like in the neighborhoods, how we do. But see, that's the difference. I look at it this way. Everybody has something that they're going to do, something to give. Every part matters. Every piece of the puzzle matters. It paves the way for the one who is the chosen one to take it to that next peak. So that's what it sounds like to me, what he is. He was the one chosen to take it to that next peak. Whatever he had, the tools, the whatever is the seed that's planted in him, There it is. So, but it doesn't dismiss who came before. It wasn't for them to do this particular mission. They did theirs. This is for you to do yours. What'd you think, mister?
Absolutely. I'm a very God-fearing man, so I take everything back to the Bible especially for instruction, because I believe the Bible was basic instructions before leaving Earth. So with that being said, it says that what is for you is for you. What God has for you, can't nobody else take it from you. You know what I mean? So that's basically what you're saying. Like, he was that person, to be the first. Like, it was already written in stone before he got here. You know what I mean? His story is already written. We just walking into our destinies, So,
yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. And the back end of that, I find that if we can absorb that type of philosophy in our mentalities, then the ones who didn't do it should not have any envy because, oh, I should have did that, but they doing it now. They getting, all these accolades for it. It erases envy when you understand that philosophy. No, that's yours, not mine. That's it. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think another guy to highlight is Mr. Nicholas Johnson. Nicholas Johnson.
Okay.
Was Princeton's first Black valedictorian. You know what I mean? That is valid for people who don't know what valedictorian is. You know what I mean? That's the person. That's the number one student in the school. He gets the highest GPA in the entire school. You know what I mean? So that is awesome. Over 275 years that the school has been open, they have never had a Black valedictorian. And in May 2020, Nicholas Johnson became the first Black valedictorian for the school. Saying, and in his speech, he said, being the first Black valedictorian from Princeton feels incredibly empowering. And particularly given that the university historical beginnings and its ties to the institution of slavery. He says Princeton's first 9 presidents were themselves slave owners, as many as the institutional professors during those early years. So, that the fact that, the foundation of the school to where we are now just shows how magnificent Martin Luther King's dream was.
Profound. I didn't expect that attachment. That's good. That's real good. Yes, indeed. 100. Wow. We always gonna have work to do.
Yes, absolutely.
That's the way that's the script of our lives. We're always gonna have work to do. And we should not be afraid or shy or run away from the work to do.
Yes. And I think it's very important to have episodes like this or have outlets and platforms like this that highlight individuals and the hidden figures, if you will, because there's a lot of amazing people, with the darker hue that don't get the recognition, and there's a lot of stereotypes about minorities, that's in all of them stem that we lack intelligence. So I love to see and I love to highlight people that is making a difference in the community, and especially people that are taking it far to make a difference in the world. To be the world's first this or the world's first that or the first Black person this or the first Latino this or whatever. You know what I mean? That's an amazing feat in itself. You know what I mean? And I think that it's important for the young generation, the generations to come, to hear that we still striving for greatness.
Yes. And I feel with what's his name, the valedictorian,
Nicholas Johnson.
When you read that, he says it became incredibly empowering to him.
Yes.
You know how that resonated in me. It's not about the first. It's empowering to him because he's learning about what he has, the empowerment he has within him,
Yeah.
that he's holding, he's emboldened.
Yes.
You know, so I say it because a lot of times we let the first is not, look, the first is the record that needs to be established according to this country. The first is not the record that needs to be established within us. When you say the hidden figures and the talk about them and they're getting their recognition, I know because many of us in the communities don't even know about them. Some of them I didn't know about until here's my portion to Black history here, Art for Change. We need to know. We need to know so we can give them that recognition, and then their journey can now live in us. And we can inspire with that. Yeah. Because many of the high-seated people, because these Black people are with their positions are sitting in what we call the high seats, whatever tier that is. But us down here in the lower seats don't know anything about it. And because we don't know, we're very vulnerable to receive the lies that are told to us because of our lack of knowledge.
I think it's important to see somebody walk through those doors that look like you, to inspire the future generations to understand that, that could be me too.
Absolutely.
When you hear Obama inauguration, when he first becomes, the first closest thing that we're going to get to the first Black president, it's inspiring. It was inspiring for me, and it was inspiring that I was old enough and able to vote. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So that was inspiring in itself. You know what I mean? And to see this, that person I actually voted for in the year that he ran made it to the presidency. Mm-hmm. That was inspiring. You know what I mean? To hear Jeezy come out with "My President is Black." You know what I'm saying?
Hear that in the rap form, like what?
You know what I mean? So like it did something to the African American community because it gave us the door. It gave us the key. It showed us that it was possible. Because before Barack Obama, all of us never thought that it was actually possible. We never thought that it was going to actually give it to us. And even though it was the seat is restricted. It don't matter who's in the seat. It's still the seat. So you got to understand that, a lot of people may feel like, he didn't do a lot for the Black community, but we got to understand he was never going to be able to do whatever you felt like he needed to do for you anyway.
Exactly.
He was never. So sometimes we got to be appreciative that he was able to do what he could, and that he inspired the future to be able to go a little further, to do a little more. You know what I mean?
Yes, indeed. Look, I'm gonna put it to me in its simplest form. He was able to have a seat in the seat with the title, not as a visitor. As this is my house. This is my house. So that right there is enough. And he did nothing to disgrace himself or it.
Yeah, he didn't have no schedule the whole time he was there. So that was much appreciated.
Exactly. So that's the most profound breakthrough right there. Now, if y'all if any of you can do something better, then let's go. Because I already cracked the door open for you. I kicked the door open for you. I got there. Yeah. And the same difference with Kamala Harris, because many of us took issue with her. But you have the first Black vice president woman. Are you kidding me? And that's off the footprints of Barack Obama. For that to happen. Absolutely. And all the leaders before.
And it was attached to his vice president. So
exactly.
You cannot say that it wasn't. You cannot say that the foundation wasn't laid.
That's right.
And, it,
So,
and what I don't mean to cut you off, but what I
no,
don't
that's
like,
okay. This is
what I
good.
don't like is a lot of times, man, the people when you reading those comments, I mean, the people who have I call people ugly. When I say ugly, I don't mean their physical appearance. When I say ugly, I mean a person's disposition. So when you read
Uh-huh.
ugly comments from ugly people, a lot or people criticize it. A lot of times, critics ain't never accomplished anything.
Mm. Oh,
Most of the time,
oh.
the one who is criticizing you has never even made it nowhere near the level of success that you have. They ain't never gave
Mm-hmm.
the effort that you gave. They ain't never made the sacrifices that you made, the dedication that it took, perseverance that it took you to reach your goal. So I don't pay attention to people who sit over there on the couch and tell me how to do my job.
Mm-hmm. And see what you just said, that's so good. That's why I'm thinking that's why when you ask that question, what is success to you?
Mhm.
Some people, what you said, they are super filled on success. Oh, I got my own house. I got, I make this amount a year. But you complaining about somebody who's running for this seat or who's now made it in this seat, and
Yes.
you ain't, like you just said, you have no idea what it is to even get to that seat.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's just the reality of the situation. I mean, a lot of us,
Yeah.
we hear. I mean, you can watch a basketball game with LeBron. LeBron can have an off night. He's 40 something years old, still playing in the NBA with these young goons. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and and you still hear people in the comments saying that he is not as great as he is. You know what I mean? But it's like, have you ever achieved any of it? Are you an ex NBA player? Have you made it to the finals that he made it to? Did you make it to the accolades you
Mm-hmm.
made it to? Oh, well, they mad that his son is in the NBA with him and playing right along with them. It's like, so many bosses and CEOs put their sons in position to win. So why are you mad that it's a black man doing
Mister, as a lover of sports, and I always loved the NBA, and I was a big follower of it. I was a cheerleader in high school, but then I don't follow the way I used to. But now, like, my thing is I follow tennis. I'm a big follower of tennis.
it? Yeah.
But to me, a lover of sports and athletes that are good at their craft, and I hear they have children, me, the spectator, the fan, can't wait to see their children get on the field. I so I don't understand what people are talking about. What you talking about? That's legacy. That's legacy. That children gotta play. I'd be disappointed when I hear a sports player say, "Oh no, my children aren't." What you mean your children not gonna play?
Yeah.
We need them to carry on the torch. Get them in there. Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know what people be saying. It's weird. It's weird.
Yeah, man. People
Yeah.
be envious. A lot of people is
Yeah.
jealous of other people's greatness and jealous that someone else took the opportunity or made the sacrifices to be somewhere that you aspired to be, but you didn't have the will power to make the certain sacrifices.
Right. Right.
It takes sacrifices to be successful, and I think a lot of people uh, misunderstand that information. Like a lot of
Yeah.
people think that everything just is just given to someone. Sometimes it's not just given to them.
Hmm.
Even if I got you hired, I can't keep the job for you.
That's right. That's right. You got to do the work.
I can get you the job, but I can't keep you the job. You know what I mean? You
Right.
still got to do the work.
That's
So
right.
people be envious that people that got the opportunity that the world has always been not what you know, but who you know. So why is it a
Hmm.
problem when it doesn't look like how you used to it looking?
Hmm. Yeah. The tragedy of it that when we have our own people saying that about our own people, our
There
own
you
icons or stars or athletes in that sense, it's such a tragedy. It's really a mentality that comes from slavery. It's a slavery mentality, and it's such a tragedy, you know. And we should always be rooting for one another and to come up, and if they choose that children don't play it or child doesn't want to play, so be it. But to critique it and judge it like that, like, and if I did hear the talk about that with LeBron's son, and he can't really play or he's not all that. But listen, nepotism is a real thing. We didn't create it. It's part of the system. So why aren't you utilizing it? Why aren't you utilizing it? I can't hear you. Yeah. Oh, why aren't you utilizing it? Like, what are you, a cheerleader against it? Don't abuse it. But if that gets your family member in the door, utilize it. If the run doesn't happen in too longevity or whatever, that's fine. But there was a run that's made. We press forward in the race. Yeah. And you got to utilize the tools that the race has given us wisely.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you
go. What? Yeah, man. It's something else, but this is glorious to be able to talk about this. I'm educating myself, and I hope others out there get educated, and those listening are being educated. I think that's the end of my list there. But we had another question. Which is, so with I guess, do you want to expound more? Do you have any specific inspiration for the men? Same question. Which one of them inspires you the most right now, mister, and why?
Men it's more men on the list. I just picked out a few. The first man in space. I mean, on the International Space Station, they said out of 300 astronauts that have been, there's only 14 of them that are black, and he's the one that stayed the longest, and he was a pilot. So that is damn sure. That's commendable. And we got Nicholas Johnson, who is the valedictorian of Princeton. That's a feat in itself. That just shows you our intellect. Once again, these are two brothers that are breaking barriers and crushing status quos and stereotypes.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I don't know. Do the people know you've said it before, but maybe you need to reiterate, because why Mr. like intellect so much? It's there in his name, Mr. Sapiosexual.
Yes.
Yes. And to like intellectual things and just to like intellect is such a beautiful thing to like. Up next.
February days. I said shout out to all the February 27 birthdays too, by the way.
Oh, there we go. So I brought in two comedians. Because comedians lead the way too in their delivery. And some of them are really good at it, like super excellent. I chose two, and I chose my number one, Dave Chappelle. Love him. And then I chose who I just started getting into, and I can't stop watching him. And that's Josh Johnson. So we know, I want to give the little detail on Josh Johnson because he's fairly new coming up, and many might not know about him. He's born March 16th, 1990. He is an American stand-up comedian and writer. He is best known for his work on The Daily Show. Having first joined as a staff writer in 2017, Johnson became a correspondent in February 2024 and was later promoted to the weekly rotation of hosts in July 2025. His self-released frequent YouTube sets have been released over the 2020s. He was also previously a writer and performer on The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon. He toured with Trevor Noah on his Loud and Clear tour for several years. In 2018, he was named New York's funniest stand-up at the New York Comedy Festival. He has released 2-hour-long comedy specials, hashtag 2021 and Up Here Killing Myself. He's born March 16th, 1990, and his age is 35. Now, I brought him in because he's a comedian where through his craft, he talks about all types of social issues, and he's known for watching the news and dissecting the news and giving a message in it. It's phenomenal. And of course, with Dave Chappelle, my number one has become my number one, wasn't always in his craft. But I asked for a comparison of the both of them and this type of leadership comedic style that they have to the world. And I want to just jot that off real quick. What comes up and what they say. So Dave Chappelle, Josh Johnson, intelligent comedy is what I crave now. That's what people are saying. So as of early 2026, Josh Johnson is emerging as a frequently cited successor to the truth-telling comedy style perfected by legends like Dave Chappelle, Richard Pryor, and George Carlin. While Chappelle represents an established legendary career defined by massive cultural impact and subsequent artistic autonomy, Johnson is rising as a prolific modern voice in comedy. Here are their career relationship and comparisons: emerging voice comparison, performance style comparison, prolific output and legacy comparison, public perception. Key differences: content focuses. While both tackle social issues, some observers feel Johnson's material is more heavily focused on current everyday news and wokes, and it is. Where Chappelle is often seen as focusing on broader social, cultural, and personal narratives. And then the media approach. We know how Chappelle built his career, and Johnson conversely has built his reputation through The Daily Show and consistent director to consumer content via YouTube. But yeah, he's something, and he's still young. Once he develops, I expect it's going to be a powerhouse leadership. But he really pinpoints and pulls out the lack of integrity that humanity has. That's what I'm gonna say. Yeah. So those are my two there. Do you have anything to say on those two, mister?
I like that you picked those two. I like that they did a little compare and contrast of both. Definitely like, and shouts out to Dave Chappelle, because I mean, not many people turn down $50 million not to go against their integrity.
And that's exactly what he said. Yep. Yes.
So definitely shouts out to Dave Chappelle for that. Also, Clarissa Shields, I think she needs to be mentioned if we speaking on current, black.
Yeah, who's that? Say the name again.
Clarissa Shields.
Go ahead. Okay.
She is a female boxer. And Clarissa Shields is a female first for a lot of things. She is the first female to win the Olympic gold medal in boxing. She did that back in 2012. She's the first fighter, male or female, to hold all 4 major world titles: the WBA, WBC, IBF, and WBO in 2 weight classes simultaneously. She is the first female boxer to headline a pay-per-view event. She is the first woman to become a 2-weight champion in boxing, and she is the first female boxer to win a prestigious Fight of the Year award for one of her fights that she that put on. So you know what I mean. If we're speaking on Black history and Black excellence, she just had a fight that she just won on February 22nd. So and she's undefeated right now. So in the
Wow.
professional rankings, yes.
Yeah.
So
What's her weight? What's her weight? Her belt.
she just fought at heavyweight for females, which I think is like
Mm-hmm.
74.
Yeah,
So,
she is phenomenal. I keep my eye on her, and YouTube has been messing with her a lot between her and Papoose. It's ridiculous. And look at all that you just listed that she is, and
yeah,
everybody
yeah,
focuses on her and Papoose. Are you kidding me?
absolutely. So you know,
But
man,
can we say that she's the similarity of the female Mike Tyson? Not with a knockout, just because she comes from the trenches.
yeah.
I know a little bit about her story of upbringing. She come from them trenches. So, and I mean,
I don't know if I would say the female. I mean, I guess she's feared, like Mike Tyson's in the female ranking. You know, I mean,
mhm,
a lot of women don't want to fight Clarissa, and a lot of women
they're
talk
scared.
big, but they ain't gonna get. A lot of women don't want to get in the ring. Look with Clarissa because
Mhm,
Clarissa's a lot to handle. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And she shows in every fight that she's a lot to handle. And not for nothing, you know, the women fight harder than the males. I feel like they have. I
mhm,
feel like they fight that way because they feel like they have to. You know what I mean? To get
mhm,
the attention and attraction that the males get.
mhm,
But just to show that you know we can do this too. But yeah,
mhm.
the women fights are way more entertaining.
Yeah. I first laid eyes on her was what year? Did you mention it in your list? The Olympics, when she first got to the
2012.
Olympics. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Our girl,
And
she's
she
like
trained for that. Didn't even have any thought in her that this is her trajectory.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I said, "Oh, this girl, ooh,
She got a
something
movie out
else."
on Netflix, I believe.
Yes, she does. I didn't watch it yet. I will watch it, but I get kind of like wherever my brain is and whatever I need to take in at that, then I save some stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
but amazing. So where we going? Ready to get this
Roundtable
closed
question.
out? Huh?
You want to do your roundtable question about the poets?
Oh, did I miss the question, Mister? Go ahead. Lead the way for me. Yeah.
It says, "How do you see comedy influencing our social
Thank you.
awareness today?" That was
Yes.
one of the questions.
Yes. Thank you.
And listen, I feel like comedy. Every comedian that you ever watch, most of the comedians is definitely going to throw a little bit of whatever is going on currently in the world. So I believe comedians is always influence social awareness by always trying to give us tidbits of what's going on, you know, in their world.
Yeah. I agree. Every comedian does do that. Although I will say some are very crafty in it. Like
Yes,
that is what they do through their comedy.
into their comedy. Correct.
Yeah, yeah, that is the thing that they do to bring social awareness. Uh Josh Johnson and Dave Chappelle's are a hell of a storytellers. And you know, watching me here lately, honing in and enjoying Josh Johnson and what he gives, it's like like you go to an event, or if you just go to a bar, and you know, people go to bars to really be social. You know, if you go by yourself, it's gonna be somebody there within the mix that's the storyteller, you know, but maybe they're not with you, but then you zone in on this guy who's the storyteller at the bar, you know. So it's real good and healthy when we have comedians that give us that is just not all about constant jaw aching and stomach belly aching laughter. It's just mind and thought provoking, and enjoying the way they have laid this story out in a way that, like, I would have never thought of it that way, or I never did, you know. Like, okay. Yeah, so I see that it's it's soothing. It's soothing and good for the soul, I think. Yeah. Did I miss any other questions?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. You can
No.
move into your segment 4.
All right. So now we get into, as I started the top, as when we opened here tonight, about Reverend Jesse Jackson. So really need to honor him. So I want to give a little piece of me and my experience with Reverend Jesse Jackson. And if you can float up those pictures for me, miss, or do I do it? I do it. You said tell you when. Yeah. So this was these pictures, this one, that's his goddaughter there. Let me see. I think August the 4th, 2024, somewhere around there in the early evening. So I'm born and raised in Chicago. Didn't live all of my life of raising in Chicago, but I'm born there. And when this happened to me, I hadn't been in Chicago in many years, and I come for a reason. And the day before I'm exiting, we're in the Waffle House, which is one of his favorite spots. I see him. So I wrote this thing here. This day became a full circle moment. I was born and raised in Chicago. I grew up listening, Chicago, Illinois. I grew up listening and watching Reverend Jesse Jackson at Push, of course, at Toe with my parents. Over many years of my life, I never returned to visit my hometown until, and what a surprise, on this day of my departure, having lunch at the old famous Waffle House, I turned to take in the scene as I was sitting at the booth style table. And lo and behold, Reverend Jesse Jackson. I intentionally told him that seeing him marked a full circle moment in my life. Rest in peace, Reverend. I thank you for your service and for the uplift in our lives, the many doors you have broken through. I receive the torch given to you as I pass through. And that's my piece for Reverend Jesse Jackson. Look at how happy I am. I'm so elated. Even still, when I look at that picture, like, man. So you want to give you got something to say, Mr. for Reverend Jesse Jackson, and what you feel, and any experience, any thoughts, minds, in your mind and heart?
I'm sorry, I was getting the
That's
audio
okay.
right.
That's okay.
From when I was a lot younger, when Jesse
Mhm.
Jackson was making his impact. I believe he ran for president like 1990, 1990 something, 96. I was probably like 6 years old. So I'm not adverse or as educated as maybe I should be on Reverend Jesse Jackson. Other than I know that he was an activist and was about trying to make change within the Black
Mhm.
community and change and make a change and infecting the community in a positive way is all what we discuss over here are for change. So it makes it full circle to mention him on the podcast tonight.
That's right. That's right. So I'll give you some, not just to you, to all, some information on him from yesteryears. He started and founded Push, which became, it was Operation Push, People United to Save Humanity, and then transferred into the National Rainbow Coalition. The organization, how come this is not opening up? The organization pursues social justice, civil rights, and political activism. In December 1971, Jackson resigned from Operation Breadbasket after clashing with Ralph Abernathy and founded Operation Push. In 1984, Jackson founded the National Rainbow Coalition. It merged with Push in 1996. The combined organization's national headquarters is on the south side of Chicago, and it has regional branches in Washington, D.C., New York City, Los Angeles, Detroit, Houston, Atlanta, Silicon Valley, New Orleans, and Boston. And again, I'm from South Side Chicago, so it was like right not that far from where we live. Operation Push raised public awareness to initiate corporate action and government sponsorship. The National Rainbow Coalition became a prominent political organization that raised public awareness of numerous political issues and consolidated a large voting bloc. The merged entity has undertaken numerous social initiatives. Yeah, Reverend Jesse Jackson. There you have it.
Yes, 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 y'all. We are getting to the closing of our show. But before we go, you better hit that bell or hit that like and subscribe and tell a friend to tell a friend that Art for Change is in. And listen, you don't ever know who we're going to have and what we're going to have on the show or what we're going to discuss. So this is why it's always good to lock in to the #1 podcast in the nation, baby, Art for Change gang. Hey, we always gonna have different type of A class, B class, C class celebrities in here. We're gonna have business professionals in here. So, and we're gonna have intellectual conversations. You know what I mean? And if nothing else, you're gonna learn how to communicate effectively over here at Art for Change. You learn how to and be inspired by different artists that we have on. Because we always like to highlight artists that are making a difference in their community or making a difference in their discipline within their art craft. Absolutely. So if you are that individual and you want to be highlighted and you want to showcase your talent, please get into our inbox on any of our social media networks. You can find us at Art for Change or the official Art for Change podcast on Instagram, Art for Change on YouTube, and Art for Change podcast on Facebook. Before we get up out of here, Lady Alva, do you have something positive for the people, love?
I sure do. I just want to say Black history is living history. We honor it by speaking, creating, laughing, and leading together.
You better know it. You better know it. And I love that, man. Listen, Black history is living history. Black history is American history. So I don't think that in those shape or form should we be removing any type of literature or history that is Black history. I don't think the curriculum should be removing learning about slavery or learning about Black activists, Black excellence. I think that Martin Luther King needs to be part of the curriculum. I believe that Malcolm X needs to be part of the curriculum. I think these are key and pillar successors for young African Americans to see and to look up to. I think we need to have more people to look up to more than just athletes or rappers.
Yes, I agree.
But on a high note, hey, listen, if you are, you better be Art for Change, gang. Until next time, we are out. Peace and love.
Peace.